Hello and welcome to Crooked House Gaming. Here at Crooked House Gaming, we like to explore the gameplay of simulation games usually through a series of Let's Plays. In this episode, we will explore the gameplay of Democracy 4. Democracy 4 is a political sim that lets you choose the role of a world leader and govern a country. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, be sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, welcome, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any future episodes. Today, we're going to continue to explore the gameplay as Prime Minister of Canada. We are presently in our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. When I hit that button, we will be entering the first term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's see how we did. Trade dispute. A major trade war has broken out between two of the world's largest economies, and sadly, we will inevitably get caught in the crossfire. This war of tariffs is mostly for domestic political purpose, but it will still impact our exports and increase prices on our food imports. International trade is down at negative 22%. Food prices up at plus 9%. Business confidence is down at negative 14%. Budget report. The International Credit Rating Agency rates our government as a C. This is a bad sign and is pushing up the rate of interest we pay on our debt. We must address this. Polls report. Polls do not look good. Our last poll put us at 29% of the vote in an election. Economic forecast. Good news. The global economy is doing well and this is having a positive effect on our GDP. Cabinet report. The loyalty of your ministers can best be described as fanatical. Their effectiveness is generally considered to be fair. We have 29 political capital to spend because we have been granted emergency powers because of our present debt crisis. Let's see how we can grow our GDP. GDP, the gross domestic product of your country. This is defined as the total market value of all goods and services produced within the nation in a year. This is a good general purpose measure of the strength of your economy and the nation's overall wealth. One of the contributing factors is the global economic cycle, which tends to be cyclical and is beyond your control. Because of the tariff war between two of the major economic powers and the price of our food going up in our country, we're going to invest in vertical farm subsidies. Farmland is getting rare, but recent inventions in architecture and agriculture could easily be bundled to make vertical farming in cities feasible. Food production in vertical farms requires more resources, but reduced transport costs mitigate that problem. This is 24% popular with the vote. We will spend 7 political capital. This will lower unemployment. This will lower the food price. This will make the farmers happy. Let us apply the changes. We have 22 political capital to spend. Recreational drug tax. In societies that have legalized drugs such as cannabis and psychedelics, there is a temptation to treat consumption of these drugs as a source of government revenue, given the claims that their consumption should be politely discouraged due to the negative effects on citizens' health. In a similar way to governments taxing alcohol or tobacco, this is not popular with the voters. We will invest 3 political capital. We will apply the changes. We have 19 political capital to spend. Retirement age. When state pensions exist, this policy sets a minimum age at which workers can retire and receive pensions from the state. This is also used as a general benchmark by private businesses when setting their own retirement ages. An early retirement may be desirable for workers, but it impacts the economy and will reduce productivity. Right now, we are at 69. We will use 4 political capital and we will change the retirement age to 70. This will reduce the amount of costs we spend on state pension. This will reduce unemployment slightly and it will increase productivity. Let's apply the changes. We have 15 political capital to spend. Public tax returns. Unfortunately, some wealthy people in our society try to avoid taxes with illegal tax evasion methods. By making tax returns public, people can now check if someone is using loopholes or abusing the system. This full disclosure will encourage the support of the system as well as reducing tax evasion by forcing everyone to be able to justify their income. This is 3% popular with the vote. We will invest 4 political capital and require people to show all details on public tax returns. This will lower corruption. We will apply the changes. We have 11 political capital to spend. Canada is dealing with a brain drain. Our tax system is encouraging the best and brightest entrepreneurs to leave the country altogether and make money elsewhere. As a result, we're losing out both on their knowledge and skills and also the potential tax revenue from them and their companies. This may be a sign that we are overtaxing the wealthy and successful. Mansion tax, a special high rate of tax charged annually on the ownership of super expensive homes. This tax is popular with some because it is almost impossible to avoid. As homes cannot be easily hidden, it is perceived as unfair by some elderly people who may have expensive homes but relatively low incomes and thus have difficulty in paying annual tax. This is a form of wealth tax as opposed to income tax. We're going to lower this to high. We're going to spend 4 political capital. This reduces our brain drain slightly. healthy. We will apply the changes. We have 7 political capital to spend. State broadcaster. A state-owned broadcaster can provide impartial and independent news without influence from corporate advertising. This can serve as a defense against bias or fake news, but compulsory TV tax is not popular with everyone. This is 17% popular with the vote. We are going to invest 4 political capital. We will increase this to medium. This will help our foreign relations. This will lower unemployment slightly. Let us apply the changes. We have 3 political capital to spend. State postal service. A state-owned and run postal service can make sense because it is a natural monopoly and one where the universal service obligation deliveries to all addresses for the same cost is generally preferred. The postal service is also a large creator of employment. This is 17% popular with the vote. Right now we have maximum. We are going to use 2 political capital to increase this. This will help lower our unemployment and increase productivity. We will apply the changes. We have 1 political capital to spend. Because the citizens in our nation are starting to eat healthy, we're going to lower healthy eating campaigns throughout cooking shows, advertisements, specials in newspapers and other media. People are encouraged to be aware of what they eat, what the results of unhealthy food are, and how to cook a good meal. This raises the overall health of the people while reducing obesity. This is 50% popular with the vote. We are going to use our last political capital. We will apply the changes. We have 0 political capital to spend, and thus we are at the end of our first term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's hit that button. We will now be entering the 2nd term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's see how we did. Corporate manslaughter bill. There is an urgent policy question that requires your immediate attention. A new bill is proposed that will allow a corporate entity to be prosecuted for manslaughter when they have been found guilty of negligence resulting in loss of life. Passed the law. This law is necessary to deter companies from cutting corners when it comes to safety of their employees and members of the public. Too many people die every year in industrial accidents, and there are often no lessons learned and no blame apportioned. This law will be a step forward for corporate responsibility. This law is unenforceable, with large companies employing many subcontractors. The legal complexities involved in applying blame for accidents is considerable. This law may be well-intentioned, but in practice it will be expensive waste of time that serves to line the pockets of lawyers whilst failing to achieve any real change in corporate behavior. We are the Radical Reform Party. We are going to pass the law. The capitalists are unhappy at -5%. The Liberals are happy at +3%. The trade unionists are happy at +6%. Budget report. International Credit Rating Agency rates our government as a C. This is a bad sign. It is pushing up the rate of interest we pay on our debt. We must address this. Polls report. Your approval rate is disappointing. If we believe the polls, you would get just 14% of the vote. Economic forecast. Great news. There is a global economic boom, which is having a noticeable effect on our prosperity. Cabinet report. The loyalty of your ministers can best be described as fanatical. Their effectiveness is generally considered to be fair. We have 28 political capital to spend. We're still in the middle of a debt crisis. We are still using emergency powers. Vertical farm subsidies. Farmland is getting rare, but recent inventions in architecture and agriculture could easily be bundled to make vertical farming in cities feasible. Food production in vertical farms requires more resources, but reduced transportation costs to mitigate that problem. This is 24% popular with the vote. This would lower unemployment, and this would lower the food price. Let us use 7 political capital to invest in this. We will apply the changes. We have 21 political capital to spend. Middle income, traditionally a large section of the population, but liable to shrink if inequality rises. The middle classes are generally politically moderate, employed car owners enjoying a holiday each year and aspire to own their own home outright. Middle classes have a stake in society that they will not want to lose to civil unrest or crime, often leading to centralist views. Their happiness is increasing slightly. Give them some school tax credits. A system of tax reductions and credits designed to encourage people to spend their money on private education in order to reduce tax liability. This boosts private schooling without involving state-running schools or employing teachers, but its effect is limited to those people in society earning enough to be paying tax in the first place. This is 100% popular with the vote. We are going to use 5 political capital to raise this to maximum. We will apply the changes. We have 16 political capital to spend. State schools, free education for all ensures high levels of literacy and can be beneficial to the economy, especially those parts of the economy requiring a skilled workforce. The flip side of this is that state education can be expensive for the government. Capitalists see state education as unnecessary intervention in the free market. This is 61% popular with the vote. I'm looking to reduce unemployment. We will invest 11 political capital in this. It will greatly reduce unemployment. It will reduce poverty. It will increase education. Let us apply the changes. We have 5 political capital to spend. Helicopter money and a unusual policy designed to boost the economy immediately, where the government effectively prints free money and hands it directly to citizens for them to spend. Normally, the amount is fixed and can be withheld for those on high incomes. Like all money printing, it's inflationary. This is 100% popular with the vote. Right now, we have it as high. It will weaken our currency strength. It will increase our GDP slightly. It's going to increase inflation in the long run. We are going to spend 2 political capital. We will apply the changes. We have 3 political capital to spend. Inheritance tax, a tax paid on the wealth of an individual as it's passed on to their descendants. An inheritance tax protects equality by preventing families amassing wealth and advantage over generations, so it is popular with socialists and the poor. However, some people are strongly opposed to anything that prevents them from handing on their hard-earned wealth, especially their house, to the children. This is 0% popular with the vote. We are going to spend 3 political capital to lower this to 18%. We will apply the changes. We have 0 political capital to spend, and thus we are at the end of our 2nd term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's hit that button. We will now be entering our 3rd term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's see how we did. Poverty is down. Appoint UN ambassador. There's an urgent policy question that requires your immediate attention. Our ambassador to the UN retires this year, and we need to name a successor as soon as possible. Much will be made of whether we appoint a hardliner who sticks up for the country or someone more able to compromise. Appoint Tonya Robinson. Tonya Robinson is known as a patriot who will fight tooth and claw to get our interests represented in the UN. Seen as a popular choice amongst the patriotic and more conservative citizens, she is historically against foreign aid and supporter of import tariffs. She is not popular internationally. Appoint Dennis Gonzalez. Dennis Gonzalez is a popular figure in the international stage with a reputation for solving difficult problems through compromise and understanding. A true internationalist, he is popular with the liberals and the socialists in our country as well as foreign leaders. We need better foreign relations because our credit rating is really bad. We are going to appoint Dennis Gonzalez. The socialists are happy at +4%. The liberals are happy at +5%. The patriots are unhappy at -9%. Foreign relations increases at +10%. Budget report, International Credit Rating Agency rates our government as a C. This is a bad sign. It is pushing up our rate of interest we pay on our debt. We must address this. Polls report the government is not popular amongst the citizen. Only 22% of them intend to vote for you in the next election. Economic forecast, good news. Global economy is doing well, and this is having a positive effect on our GDP. Cabinet report, the loyalty of your ministers can best be described as fanatical. Their effectiveness is generally considered to be fair. We are going to fire Laura Doobie. And we are going to hire Elizabeth Chan for foreign policy. Her suitability for foreign policy is 61%. She doesn't have a lot of experience, but she does have loyalty. So we're hiring Elizabeth Chan. We have 26 political capital to spend. Green Electronics Initiative. The goal of Green Electronics Initiative is to reduce electronic waste from cleaner mining operations to upcycling projects. A broad array of measures should make the digital world a cleaner place. This will increase energy efficiency. This will lower rare earth metal prices. This will lower CO2 emissions, and this will lower capitalism. This is 18% popular with the vote. Let us implement this policy. We're going to put it to medium. We apply the changes. We have 3 political capital to spend. State Energy Company, a state-owned and run electricity company that allows the government to subsidize energy production if it chooses to do so. This is 21% popular with the vote. I'm looking at this to lower our unemployment. We are going to spend 2 political capital. We will apply the changes. We have 1 political capital to spend. Alcohol awareness campaign. Alcohol can be dangerous even in moderation. To raise awareness of that, this campaign will show all the trouble that alcohol can get you into, from ruined friendships over accidents and addiction to sickness and death. Certainly not a happy topic, but it is always better to have your mood dampened a little now and stay sober than to suffer big time later. We are going to reduce what the government spends in this, about $10 million. We will apply the changes. We have 0 political capital to spend, and thus we are at the end of our 3rd term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's hit that button. We will now be entering the 4th term of our 4th year of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada. Let's see how we did. Tourist killed in animal attack. A tourist has been killed after being attacked by a wild animal. With a large number of tourists in close proximity to wildlife in our country, preventing all incident of attacks is impossible. However, a news story like this can only hurt the tourism industry. Tourism is down at -10%. Budget report, our credit rating is worryingly just a C. We need to fix this either through growing our GDP, cutting expenditure, or increasing increasing taxation. Polls report the government is not popular amongst its citizens. Only 17% of them intend to vote for you in the next election. Economic forecast. Good news, the global economy is doing well and this is having a positive effect on our GDP. Cabinet report. The loyalty of your ministers can best be described as fanatical. Their effectiveness is generally considered to be adequate. We have 27 political capital to spend. Legalize sex work. Conservatives claim that the legalization of prostitution would mark a severe decline in family values. Others claim, as prostitution is unlikely to disappear, even if illegal, it's better for society and sex workers that the practice be regulated and monitored rather than criminalized. This is 54% popular with the vote. We are going to use 7 political capital. This will increase the GDP slightly. We will apply the changes. We have 20 political capital to spend. Conservatives, the polar opposite of liberals. Conservatives are big supporters of what generally is thought of as family or traditional values. This group is likely to oppose liberalism of drug policy and be outraged by sexual scandals or misdeeds. Conservatives are not keen on identity politics, gay marriage, infidelity, or legalized prostitution, which I just did. They were not happy by our streamer offering our birthday song. They're really not happy with the right to die. Let's take a look at right to die. Right to die, although clearly punishing people for taking their own life is futile, the state often makes it a crime to assist in someone's early death, even if they are in great pain and are unable to carry out the act without help. Religious often take a dim view of suicide or those assisting in it, regardless of the circumstance. This is 84% popular with the vote. We can use 3 political capital to lower this slightly. This will appease the religious and the conservatives a little bit, but we will still be using the single doctor agreement, which we have at present. We will apply the changes. We have 17 political capital to spend. Limited automated trading. Automated stock market trading software exploits minute movements and short-term patterns in the market, yielding to higher volatility and instability. Stock market crashes can be prevented by limiting the abilities of automated trading. Capitalists and the wealthy profit most from automated trading. We'll use 7 political capital to lower frequency limits. This will help stabilize the GDP from the volatility of automated trading. We will apply the changes. We have 10 political capital to spend. Corporation tax, a direct and proportionate tax on the profits of business. Some argue that this should be the only form of taxation, others that such taxes stifle entrepreneurship and discourage people from starting businesses. It is often one of the main ways the government brings in money. This is 13% popular with the vote. We are going to use 3 political capital. We are going to lower the corporation tax to 22%, hopefully reducing our corporate exodus. This will improve the GDP. We will apply the changes. We have 7 political capital to spend. Robotics research grants, a special grant to encourage research in robotics. Robotics is a very long-term area of research which will eventually bring about vast boosts in productivity, but at the same time it will reduce the amount of low or semi-skilled jobs in the economy and thus potentially lead to higher unemployment. This will increase our technology. This will increase our industrial automation. This will lower the trade unionist views of us, but we are going to implement this policy. We will invest a little bit into robotics research grant. We will apply the changes. We have 1 political capital to spend. It looks like the middle income have a better view of us now. They were in the red earlier. They're now in the yellow. It's a policy designed to encourage the wealthy or anybody who pays tax to donate to charity by deducting some of their charitable donation from their income when calculating various taxes. This is 100% popular with the vote. We are going to use our last political capital. We will apply the changes. We have 0 political capital to spend, and thus we are at the end of our 4th term, of our 4th year, of our 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada, and thus we are at the end of this episode. Thank you so much for stopping by our Cricket House. If you like what you saw, be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you want to follow our future episodes. It really helps us out. Have a great week. See you soon.